Well, thanks for joining us again. Now, this is a newspaper review. I'm Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukwu.
Of course, and we have Mazi Amobi Iheburu, who stays back. Mazi, thank you very much for staying
Thank
back
you very much for having me.
All right, so let's dive into it. I will also be going to our Benin station in the course of the program. Now, Nupeng, Dangote. Well, I know we've talked about this, but it's right here again. It's on the cover page of the Punch newspaper. Nupeng Dangote clash as tanker drivers deal collapses. Dangote refinery says union membership not compulsory as Nupeng ponders fresh strike. Marketers urge adherence to MOU. NLC warns refinery against agreement breach. All right, they all seem to be coming down on the Dangote refinery now. And then some more headlines here. 2027, Jonathan, Obi hold closed door meeting. INEC shortlists 14 new party applicants, disqualifies 157. So yes, so we have 14 new parties who will be vying for different political posts. This is 14 added to 19. I wonder how long the ballot paper will be. Probably longer than this.
They are not yet political parties.
They are not yet political.
They have scaled the first hurdle.
Okay.
They are still an association.
Okay.
So they have scaled the first hurdle. They will now do the more. They will now do more diligence on them and all that and all that. So
you expect that the numbers will drop?
It will come down. Definitely, it will come down because most of them will not meet INEC criteria of what having a spread, because that has been the problem. You have a spread in all 774 local governments of this country. It's not a joke. So I am thinking that number will still be reduced, to still come down.
Okay.
But let's watch and see. Depends on the promoters of these political parties.
If the numbers are coming down, I mean, I for one would say the 19 is even too much.
Yes, the issue is that the 19 we have, how many of them participate actively in politics?
Actively?
Yeah, actively in elections.
I think what we should be, Mazi, the INEC says these 14 are the ones that met the criteria. So do you think they will subject them to another round of verification?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Okay, now that said, I also feel
Look at the caption. It says political association.
Political association.
Yes.
No, until they are recognized and registered, they don't become political parties.
Association. They have expunged the other 150 something.
Yeah.
These ones they said, okay, you have some.
You have met the criteria.
Yes. So let's go with you.
Okay. Why we expect? While we await INEC to come out with the final decision, there's something we discussed the other day. Is it possible for some of these parties, to become regional parties that should not have the kind of spread like we have in other places?
Absolutely.
Regional parties.
Like ABGA.
ABGA should actually be a regional party.
Yes.
But the condition that they must have offices in 704 local government is a tall one.
It's a tall order, really. But after registration, you can, reduce yourself to a regional party and start playing there.
If you start reducing yourself and it gets to a point where you don't win sufficient number of seats,
you'll be thrown out.
You'll be thrown out. So it becomes a problem.
I agree.
So is it not better that ab initio,
unless you have a policy,
INEC sends the standard?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to become a regional party, apply for a regional license. Not like banks, regional banks,
yes.
And all of that.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's high time because some can make greater impact in their locality.
Exactly.
Depending on who is promoting it. Depending on the candidates.
In advanced democracies, you even see issue-based political parties like environmentalists. Environmentalists and people that are immigration parties, people that are strictly based on particular issues. I expect that we'll get to that point.
I think I buy your idea completely. It's high time we begin to look at the regionalization of some of these parties.
All right, Comrade Ojekere joins the conversation from our Benin station. Comrade, thank you very much for staying with us. Now, what's your take on this one? 14 parties have scaled through INEC shortlist 14 new party applicants, disqualified 157. So, are we having 14 added to the 19 that we already have? Or what do you see play out?
What's interesting is people's opinion about regional parties. You a status quo that has refused to allow for independent candidacy. It's not going to allow for regional parties. This unitary mentality that we have in our country is one of the biggest problems that we have. Because by the time you liberalize democracy and you begin to allow for such regional parties and begin to allow for independent candidates, Nigeria is going to be free. Nigeria is going to be liberated from the shackles of an oppressive status quo that want to hold us to ransom. That's why they are not alive for that. There should be a template, a law. In fact, you've just cut out a job for the civil society to pursue. There should be regional parties, there should be independent candidates. 14 more parties, the ones we have, the ones that are existing, that you say, the 19 that are existing, they exist in paper. Most of them exist in paper. They don't have headquarters, they don't have offices at the national headquarters. If you go and check some of the offices, are just two. Some of the parties there that you say you have in the states, it's just the family of the so-called party chairman and 4 or 5 people. At election time, they go to the bigger, more established parties to go and begin to trade. They trade out their, cards. They trade out their party agents. So it's a sham when they begin to say we are aligned for democracy, so we are registering more parties. Some of the times we even have the party in power are bringing in more parties just to divide votes and create problems for the opposition. So it's all the sham. What we should do is to allow for regional parties, interest to be captured, and then that's where you have liberalized democracy.
Audio, but we'll have our engineers fix that, and then we'll get more response from you.
Many people have argued very persuasively also that it's becoming unwieldy. Because I remember vividly when we had the UPN, the MPN, the MPP, the PRP, and the Great Nigerian People Party, GNPP. We, as kids then, we can mention them, and we know who is who in those political parties. The Wazir Ibrahims and all that. But now, even as at now, I find it difficult to recognize the 19 we are talking about, not to talk of an addendum that we are waiting for. So it is becoming too unwieldy, and just like Jekere said,
there's a Boot Party.
I know. Okay. I think I've heard that.
Zenith Labour Party.
I know. Yes, I know.
Boot Party.
Boot Party.
Yes. There's also a Youth Party.
Youth Party.
YP. The one that Polovo is the state chairman in Taraba State. Okay. There's a Youth Party.
So these things are so many, and then because if INEC refuses to, allow for more registration, we will also accuse INEC of not allowing, closing up the space and all that. So they're trying to maintain a kind of stability in the system and all that. But if you ask me, just like we are saying, assuming without conceding that these 14 associations are now registered as political parties, you sum them up, you are looking at 33, 34 political parties in a ballot paper. That would be unwieldy. Some people that has no glasses may not be able to see the logos and all that. And you have logo confusion. Because some of these acronyms looks alike.
Exactly.
If you look at this, and if you don't listen very carefully, you will not know what the person is talking about.
Okay, sorry, Moses, before we move, Mercy, do you think that our politics will be better if we reduce the number of political parties to maybe 2 or 3?
They will be reduced by themselves.
I think
over time.
They will be reduced by themselves.
I think INEC will have to do the reduction.
Yes.
I think if INEC does, if you ask them to be reduced by themselves, a lot of people, it will take a long time because a lot of people want to, have their voices heard, want to be the ones to pretend over a political party and say, yes, I'm the one that introduced this.
Some even use it as a bargaining chip.
Exactly, to merge with somebody else later. But if there's a law that says INEC should shrink the parties, then we'll see those that are not so strong align with other parties, and then we'll have a stronger force at the end of the day. I think IPAC has a role to play in all of this as well.
Okay. Let me digress a bit, because you talked about alignment. What is happening in ADC now? We discussed it here that the vice chairman said he cannot, and all that, because there is a lot more people came into the party to solidify the party. So alignment is removed from this. It cannot work because of what we know, what we have already adduced to, in terms of, I want to be known as the chairman of this party. I want to have a bargaining power. That makes alignment a little bit more difficult. I think that INEC should come up with a more stringent measure, and then implement it.
Okay.
Implement it. If you don't get this in 2 elections also, will deregister you? There's nothing wrong with that. But to tell me that willy-nilly parties will come, align and all that, there's also, we have seen one now playing out where we have the brick bars. People are saying, you want to subsume us and all that and all that. So we have, personally, I think that the number is becoming too much. And my fear about the whole thing is getting traction from here and there. Just like we also saw a few minutes ago, Gambian legislator is even throwing her weight. The lady from Gambia throwing her weight. And before you say Jack Robinson, the thing will degenerate to feminism struggle and all that. So these are all possibilities. I am saying that...
I'm tempted to ask a question. I know this is not a question, but I'm tempted to ask.
Yeah.
Will there be any implication if foreign organizations get involved in all of this? Will it have any impact really?
Nigeria is a sovereign state.
Yes.
We agree.
Exactly.
It's a sovereign state. But, they also have a way of, no one is in isolation. No one lives in isolation.
We've seen cases where...
So what happens in one country also is of interest.
We've seen cases where politicians in Nigeria have been accused of corruption, of electoral fraud and the rest, being blacklisted by some other countries like the US in some cases. But it really doesn't deter them from doing what they want to do. It doesn't stop the politicians from being
because
corrupt.
if they don't go to US, they go to
go elsewhere.
They go elsewhere.
So will it make any impact really?
No, but okay, certainly it will. Yeah. Because when they understand that they're putting out Nigeria in a bad light, it has a way of also influencing their actions and inactions on some of the occasions. Yeah. Like what Mazi said, outrightly, it might not, because nobody is going to intervene, because Nigeria is a sovereign state. Like I think Natasha ran to UN that time and all of that. The only thing they will do is to condemn. And
openly condemn.
Yes, the impact is going to be minimal. It's going to be minimal. The only people that can put pressure, on the National Assembly to do what is right is Nigerian people
and her constituents. But they are not saying anything.
You remember
they tried at that time.
When this thing happened, there was this attempt that people said they want to recall her. They started gathering signatures and all
until
that,
it failed.
Until the thing crashed and all that. So that's the typical Nigerian way of reacting to issues. If you look at the constituents, what are the constituents going to do? The only thing they can do is probably they will go to the National Assembly and say, please accept our senator. And that drama, going to the National Assembly, I do not think it will solve the problem. Rather, it will escalate the problem. I'm not talking about Natasha going to the National Assembly. Because what played out on July 21 or something, when she went there to resume, you saw what happened.
Yes.
If not for the fact that, reason prevailed and all that, it could have gradually turned into something else. As at that time, the followership in terms of the support base
have dwindled.
Have not been. Now the thing is heightened more than what it was during that first attempt to get into the Senate.
Okay.
that is why I'm saying that at this point, it behoves on the government. The government now, the executive arm, they will tell you, no, they don't want to interfere with what is happening in another arm of government.
Meanwhile, they are interfering.
When it is right for them to do, they will intervene in other matters and all that. So nothing stops the executive from saying, look, because they are all part of the government. If one arm of the, it's a system, one arm of the government have an issue, it will rub off on the other arms of government and all that. So it behoves on the executive to step in now. Earlier on, we said DSS has no business in Nupeng, Dangote, fracas. But they went there to forestall national insecurity, as it were. Nothing also stops the DSS. You know, I told you here that the way the DSS, you were asking me whether it is within their mandate. I said no. But because of the peculiar Nigerian situation, you find out that they can also enter. What stops DSS from entering the National Assembly now? Is it not threat to national security? You see, you can't divorce some of these things. If because I said here that it is in the opinion of what the DSS described as national security that it is
that forms national security.
Are they not seeing national insecurity in Natasha Nas imbroglio? I think they should say it.
But I think they see her as a small fry that could easily be dealt with. The way they are dealing with her. You know, the way
in politics, anything can happen. In nation building, anything can happen. In this type of scenario, don't underestimate any person. Sentiment is a very serious thing. You know, if you ponder sentiments on something, people who may not even know the nitty-gritty about what is happening, but because they are sentimental about it, can jump into the fray and all that. So that is why it is very imperative, it is very advisable at this point in time for the government as a body to look into this thing and then find a way around it so that this lady will resume on the 23rd of September and then we push that one back and face some other critical national issues.
Now, I'd like us to respond to this headline. It says, supporters await Fubara's London return ahead of resumption. We know it's barely a week to the expiration of his own 6 months. I mean, we're just talking about expiration of Natasha's 6-month suspension by the Senate. Suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara is expected to return by, I think, September 18 or thereabouts. Yes, that's when he's supposed to return. But we hear that he's been in London, so he went on some sort of vacation too.
The man had always told you.
Let's start off with
a guest.
Yes, Comrade Ojekere. What are your expectations here?
Well, beyond that, we know that he would soon, his tenure of suspension will say expire. We haven't even heard anything from those who suspended him with regard to him resuming on that particular day. And as Fubara has always said, he said he's not desperate. So he probably wanted to signify that by going to relax. If they, in their own opinion, because I think the young man has kind of given up hope on the Nigerian state.
Giving up hope?
Yeah, because if you watch, like in Natasha's case, those who had wisdom told Natasha and Fubara to just be patient and wait out their time, because we knew that all the government was doing was hypocrisy. The point is that they have interests they are protecting by this suspension, and until they are sure that those interests are guaranteed, they will find ways to extend this suspension. And Fubara doesn't want to make himself a butt of joke. Now, there are agreements they want to reach with Fubara. I don't know how much he has agreed to those terms, because obviously Wike is dictating the terms and is pushing it down his throat. I don't know how much, how many of those, interests Fubara has swallowed or have agreed to. If Fubara does not agree to all of the demands of Wike, he will not be resuming on the 18th. But if he agrees to them, then he will resume. Because it's a party government. The president allows his lieutenants, Akpabio, to do what they will, to control their territory. They have bifurcated Nigeria. They have demarcated it to their own personal interest. So you protect your interest. When it comes to 2027, you deliver the results. It's as simple as that. So Wike determines whether Fubara resumes on the 18th or not. And he has read out several, points which he thinks Fubara has to meet before there will be peace, according to the language he uses. So I don't know whether that has been reached. It is not too sure yet that when it comes to 18, it will not be kept away from government house the way Natasha is being kept away from the national assembly. It's a circus. It's
A circus indeed.
So yes, abroad, in power, they become so megalo that they don't even remember that there are rules and laws and institutions. And certainly our opinions don't matter. That's why somebody was saying just now, what would the consequences be? And we must begin to talk about the history of Nigeria and how we accept all of these things. People are even afraid to discuss them in public spaces, not talk of taking action. Well, the result is that we might go the Nepal way. I mean, governments that have always taken their citizens for granted because they think they control the machinery of state power have always learned the very hard way. And that's why we are praying.
You see, some people are of the opinion that Nigeria lost its opportunity to hold its elected leaders accountable with the way NSAS
that
ended.
opportunity that opportunity is perpetual.
Yeah.
Because you cannot wish away anger, frustration, and you cannot wish away people reacting when you put them to the wall. So we may be very elastic and resilient, but the opportunity continues to present itself because we are continually angry. We are continually being pushed to the wall. And remember Nepal, it wasn't the oldies like us who started that revolution. It was the young ones who are not as,
politically savvy,
diplomatic and politically, exact as we are. It was the young ones who all they understand is that once you touch their body, you touch their stomach, their basic is discomfort. See, so if the government thinks that they are doing what they are doing, for me, 2037 is going to be a very interesting time for Nigeria because so many things are going to come up. The chicken is going to come home to roost. So if you watch the political trajectory, yes, you will know that it's not going to be business as usual in 2027.
All right. Okay.
I want to say that the Fubara issue, has been so watered down for Fubara, If you ask me, the way the whole thing has turned out to be, if he had known, probably he wouldn't have started the fight.
But do you think it is uhuru for Mr. Wike at this point, seeing that there's some sort of discontent within the APC? Because a lot of those that won the local government seats were PDP members that defected to the APC. So members of the APC in Rivers State are complaining now. They say, look, this is not what we bargained for. This is not APC. This is PDP in APC skin.
Okay, PDAPC.
What can they do? You see, for now,
no, Mazi, they can do something.
For now, let me say this. For now, Wike tends to hold the longer end of the stick in Rivers politics. For now, I don't know what will happen tomorrow. And he has been able to do this. That is why the local government election was hurriedly put in place. Whether it will be challenged during the civilian rule of Fubara is yet to be known, because people have said, a lot of commentaries have been run on this particular issue, that the sole administration had no business conducting that election. That election did not meet the required constitutional requirement to be held and all that. There's a lot of conversations around it. But whether Fubara will challenge it is still to be known, because it is somebody that has interest in any matter that goes to court. Otherwise, the court will tell you don't have a locus, as it were. So, be that as it may, if Fubara comes back, I do not know whether the time the president will come back, as Today is 14th or thereabout. I do not know when.
No, today is 12th.
12th. I do not know when the president will be coming back.
President will be back on 22nd.
On 22nd, and the
state of emergency
expires on this.
On 18th.
How will it be handled? Will it make a broadcast from there, or will he give directives by or non-oga or whatever? How will because when that state of emergency was
declared,
there was a speech. There was a
so you expect
presidential
that
speech.
there will be a speech again before
I am thinking there also must be a presidential speech because in that speech, in the earlier speech, he told us that he wanted to prevent a lot of threat, this, that. Now he should also be able to tell us what the sole administrator have achieved within this period. Whether all those threats that were identified have been taken care of and what have you. So I do not know how it will go. It's very worrisome. It's very, very worrisome. That is why some people will say when that they can rule from anywhere. Do you need to make an emergency broadcast from anywhere? These are issues that we need to interrogate. I do not know how it works, but we are watching. And that is why some people are saying, even if you want to extend it, you still have to make some brokers to tell us that, or are you going to just tell Bayo Nonoga to reel out a statement that the governor of Rivers?
No, but Mazi, there's a vice president. A vice president can do that.
Did he hand over to the vice president?
But he can delegate him. The fact that he didn't hand over means he can delegate functions to him.
There are things we do, we think it doesn't matter.
Yes.
But by the time you put them on the table and begin to
interrogate them,
yes, you now begin to see faults. Because they are looking at personality, they are looking at what interest they are going to get. Then a lot of things are glossed over in terms of being detailed. When I looked at the whole scenario, I said, what is going to happen? Anyway, we live to see. We are in this country. We live to see.
Okay.
But from all indications, Fubara is holding the sharper end of the stick.
Yes. I said something about this Fubara issue the other day. But let me just now, if you examine Fubara's personality, and if you go back and check what happened, number one, you'll understand that he wasn't primed for politics. Basically, he wasn't primed for politics. Two, if you, from his personality, you know that he is no longer interested. He said it in a church service. He said, my mind has left the government house and all of that. And since then, he's been acting it out. Look at the just concluded local government election. He stayed away because he didn't want to get into all that mix, into the brawl between APC said, PDP said, and Fubara said for this for APC or he said for PDP. He just stayed away.
Would you be surprised if after reinstating him, 1 month after, he will resign?
I will not be surprised.
That is it.
I won't be surprised. And now talking about reinstating
we are looking at possibilities because he may not want to go immediately so that it won't go down in history that, he was suspended and from there, he can allow himself to be, reinstated.
And he will just
and then he will now tell you, I'm no longer interested.
That's why I say that.
So there's a lot of scenarios that are likely to play out. Because the man has been, the whole situation will not favor him anymore. If he gets in there as a governor and, to run out his term and all that, it will be very difficult.
It is very difficult for him. So that's why I think that he doesn't have the stomach for politics. He just got into it. He was coerced into it. Because at that point, I think he needed to continue telling a particular line, particular story. Having served as accountant general of the state, there's an end, that he needed to cover. So he just stepped in to continue covering that end. Unfortunately, this is where he got himself. He's in faraway London. How many days to the expiration? 6 days to the expiration of the state of emergency. And I said, Mazi Amobi, what you said is instructive. Yeah. If the president is to call up the state of emergency, how is he going to do that? If he's to extend, before he extends it, he has to go back to the National Assembly to get another approval. Has he done that? Is he going to do it in absentia? Because I think it's a 12-day vacation, either 10 or 12 days. But give or take, between 20th and 22nd, he should be
working back. Days or normal 10 days?
They just take 10 days.
So we need to, because I saw that lacuna in that statement by Bayo and Nanoga, you know, he didn't state it. If in an organization, if you are talking about days, you said
It's 10
working days. Yeah,
That's
it
what
should
it
be
Which is
clearly-
Monday to Friday,
Yeah,
yes.
excluding.
excluding Saturdays and Sundays. So
I think that's what
some
it
of
is.
these things should be clearer. You know, we are not.
No,
we are
okay. We think,
I
but
think-
what we think, but what he put there was walking visit. They were more interested in the visit, walking visit,
Walking
not
vacation.
walking vacation, not in the number of working days.
I think they have a way of peppering over some of these their
Some of-
flaws.
Sometimes they don't even they don't understand some of these
we
things.
are waiting. It's an interesting time for Rivers State.
Interesting time for Nigeria because Nigerians are watching to see how all of it plays out. Let's go to the Guardian newspaper. There are other headlines here. INEC rejects 157 applications, clears ADA, 13 others for registration. Banks, FMCG customers top FCCBC's 9,091 complaints, 10 billion naira recovery. Implementation of 2025 budget begins in September, says FG. I take that one again. Implementation of 2025 budget begins in September, says FG. And then open defecation crisis worsens, threatens 2030 sanitation target. And then the Guardian, in its way of doing things, gives us a breakdown. Only 9% of households have access to basic sanitation services. I think that's exaggerated. 9%. I think it's a whole lot more than, I think it's it's a lot more lesser than this. Delta, Lagos, others struggle with enforcement awareness. And then we have 48 million still without toilets as cholera, diarrhea kill over 100,000 children yearly. Another exaggerated figure. North Central leads in prevalence, followed by Southwest. Okay, I know it's bad, but 100,000
They're not in that
children,
magnitude.
100,000 children yearly, it should have been finished by now. Okay, but it's really bad. It's really bad because, especially in some parts, if you say Lagos is smelly now, some people will get offended. But you drive through Lagos at certain times of the day, evenings and early mornings, and then you see people defecating by bridge side, by the roadside. You see them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get arrested, I know, but more often than not, the enforcers are not close to these individuals. And then you wake up sometimes. In fact, the other day, Lagos State government closed an estate because they pumped sewage water into the drainage channel, and it just polluted the area. Other people out of the estate into the streets. So I think there's a lot more that should be done in terms of.
Let me tell you a story. If you are coming from Ahmadu Bello towards Motion Center, there's this bridge after the military, where if you are passing there, you see some people selling fish. They will tell you,
Yes,
fresh
yes,
fish and all that. So one of the days we are, somebody said, are you going to eat this fish? Where they usually do this defecation and all that. And that. No. So if you now look at it, and people pack to buy this fish.
Yeah.
They pack and buy them. Are they buying whatever? I do not know.
We don't know what's in the ocean anyway. So should we be concerned?
So it's really a problem. Environmental sanitation.
They say these things don't kill a black man.
Yeah, right.
Right. Chukuma, don't
Environmental
you agree?
sanitation is a real issue, in third world countries, particularly and all that. So this our weekly cleanup, I don't know how far it has gone, and all that, but sanitation should be personalized. You do your bit in your own house. Because some of this, even the issue of inspectors or whatever, these people that go from house to house ensuring that these things are done and all that. But the important is that it has to be a personal issue.
Personal thing.
Yeah, personal.
Indeed.
For us to achieve a high degree of sanitation, the individual has to inculcate the
Personal hygiene.
personal hygiene. You know.
And it starts from the home.
Yeah,
Yes.
from the home.
Yes. And let's add this headline to that one. You know, this Lagos activates Ebola response system as DR Congo battles outbreak. Let's add it to it.
Yeah, during there was this commissioner. What was the name of that commissioner in Lagos State? Professor somebody. He did a yeoman's job even during the
Abayomi?
Yeah, Abayomi. I think it was Abayomi. During
The Ebola crisis.
the Ebola crisis and the COVID-19 crisis and all that. Lagos State was one of the states that really
Broke out in Lagos, Obalende actually, where Dr. Adodevo invented that man.
Patrick
the
Sawyer.
Liberian man.
Patrick Sawyer, yeah.
And all that. So, if Lagos State is telling us this, I think they have done it before. They have what it takes. They have the experience, to their credit. It's one state that can handle this thing very, very well. But it needs some high degree of enlightenment. Because some of these epidemics, it thrive on lack of information. If, like they have said, they hype the enlightenment campaign, it will go a long way to stemming the tide of the virus, Ebola virus,
The spread of the virus.
The spread of the
So that's a job for NOA then.
Well, yes. And does it exist?
Oh, it does.
It does.
Are they doing their job now?
Well, they're doing something.
Is it very catchy?
They do with animation, animated characters on television advertorials.
Can that
Translate to.
in your own assessment? How do you see the
No,
animated
don't ask
character?
for my own assessment. All right, Comrade Ojekere, let's have your thoughts. By the way, it's an open conversation, so feel free to chime in at any point in time.
All right. Our public hygiene policy in this country is probably one of the worst in the world. Even the houses that are said to have latrines, you need to go to the latrines and see the state in which they are in. And then when you have cluster of houses you have mostly in Lagos, you need to go to the backyards of those houses and see the kind of terrible hygiene challenges that you have there. So if indeed these epidemics break out from hygiene issues, then I'm sure we'll have more Nigerians dying than even the numbers that you have. There's no piece of land around Abuja or in other places of Nigeria that is free or empty, even of completed buildings, where you go into and you don't see people defecating or you see defecation that have been made there. So our hygiene policy needs to be reviewed. And it needs to be state-centered. You can't have a national hygiene policy that is going to be effective. It should be centered around the states and the local government areas. We just don't figure in hygiene in our attitude in Nigeria. How many public toilets do we have? All of these artisans who are working, mechanics, carpenters, and so on and so forth, the little bush behind their place of work is their latrines and their toilets. So we have real hygiene challenges here. And I think it's time we begin to look at that very, very soon. Are we planning towns? All the old cities are on plans. And so you don't even have sewage systems, that you can really say we're planned. It's just convenient. If a gutter is running and it becomes too troublesome, we dig another part for it. And then whatever debris that is left there, that is there for there. And then it creates hygiene problems and so on and so forth. People who buy things on the way, they just throw and litter everywhere the way they like and all of that. So we have great hygiene problems, and we need to come up with policies. State government needs to come up with policies on how to share, whatever waste that we have, especially those natural waste, and if I even create work from them. So that is very important, I think, to make that point. Thank you.
All right then. Oh, well, some more headlines here. ADC split deepens as faction claims court barred MAC. Aregbesola. MRA faults attack on journalists, urges intervention. And also, appeal court orders chief registrar to confiscate crude on board FPSO Tamara Tokini. How do you react?
Sorry,
Speak your headline.
which newspaper are you reading that?
That's from The Guardian.
Which newspaper are you reading that on?
The Guardian newspaper.
Oh, okay, still on the Guardian.
Yes, still on The Guardian.
Yes. ADC does not have a split. You talk of a split when you were already one party and then you divide into two. ADC is one. And as the spokesman for ADC has said, whatever you read like that is fake news. Because you have to have basis for splits. You have to have had a problem with the structure of the party and you tell us where you are splitting from. The structure is one that has been recognized by INEC, and in the states and the local government area, that structure cascades down, and that's the same structure. So we don't have a split. We can have claimants, who are being paid by the ruling party to come and give the impression that there are splits. There is no split.
Oh, interesting.
Now, and that is why the judge was not convinced. Yes.
There are riders to it. So let me take the riders, and then you continue with your analysis of it. ADC split deepens as faction claims court barred Mark Aregbesola invites Atiku, Obi, El Rufai, others to join authentic ADC. In quote, no injunction against leaders. ADC clarifies, warns public against fake reports. Court refuses ex parte bid to stop Mark Aregbesola as ADC leaders. Adjourns hearing on leadership tussle till Monday. Well, those are the riders. Go on, please.
We must salute the courage of that judge and his wisdom and his respect for the rule of law. So it is only after the judge has heard them and then the court has pronounced that there's indeed a split. That's why it's inviting the leadership, because even the court is not convinced that there is a split. And that's why it's inviting the leadership to come and show cause why they should not listen to that errant voice that is saying that there is a split. So we know what is playing out. We know that today in Nigeria we have so used the process that if you wanted to make some million right now, Chukwuma, all you do is to say that you are splitting from ADC or you are splitting from PDP, and there is an APC agent waiting to give you some hundreds of millions so that you can create problems in that party. We are not going to encourage that as Nigerians, and the press should not sacrifice sensationalism or sacrifice not sensationalism, not sacrifice decorum for sensationalism. The press should help to fight this evil monster that have come upon our democracy in this Nigeria, where we want to bastardize democracy and create problems for every other person.
You seem to be speaking as an insider of the ADC. Do you have inside information?
Yes, I have inside.
I beg your pardon.
So I'm speaking as somebody who is aware. So what you are hearing is privileged information. There's no split at all in the ADC.
All right.
What is happening inside the Labour Party and inside PDP, we will never allow to happen inside.
All right.
I think ADC has crossed the first hurdle, being that INEC has recognized them. That is the first hurdle. So if they are going to court on the 15th, they are going from a position of strength. That is it. Because you read out here that the judge said they should come on the 15th to show cause why he should not listen to the other side. So to show cause is that they are now recognized by INEC. So the judge can take it up from there. I think the leadership of Mark and Aregbesola, is now.
You don't think Dumebi Kachuku, who is still spitting fire, has any reason to continue fighting?
I saw him the other day on television also, talking about this, talking about that. He's a little bit angry.
Okay.
To my mind, he's agitated. I'm not part of them. I don't know what must have transpired, but it's like, for me, if you ask my candid opinion, it's like maybe he's coming in when the train has also, left the station.
He's not coming in. He was there before.
No, that's what I'm saying. Some of the things he's saying now, to my mind, the train has already left the station.
Oh, okay.
When you see, part of this is now. Let me tell you how politics works. Now, INEC has recognized ADC. Those people who want to play politics
By
around
the way, don't
ADC,
forget, INEC has also recognized ADA.
ADA, yes, which was the original, political association. And
So
all
are we
that.
going to see movements of the coalition now?
Okay, ADA is one of the 14.
Yes.
No, yeah, ADA
Okay.
is one of the 14.
14.
I think
Yes.
it's the second political association there. I do not see, because now that they have been recognized, part of their fear was that they will not finish the process
Before elections.
the election. So they now sought to, plan B, and all that, which they now
P30.
got. It will be foolhardy for them. Rather than consolidating on ADC, they will now go to
Go
ADA.
back. Okay.
To ADA.
Okay.
What will happen? This is politics. What will happen? Some people can use ADA now to fight them also. That is the game plan. They can. Some people, if ADA is now registered, some people that are left out, because in politics, it's its interest that is constant. Once you are falling out of it, and then displacement is allowed, because it's contestation of power. Where you contest power, you are ruthless. And that is exactly what is going on within all those political parties. So what I'm saying in effect is that probably Dumebi did not think that this will succeed, because you need to have a third eye. When you see one, you need to have an eye for gold. When you see, if you are a businessman, where people are going away from, maybe your gold mine and all that. So in politics, people weigh their options. Probably, I would not say maybe didn't see it coming. He saw it, but maybe he did not take advantage. He could have been a major player in ADC, having been their presidential flag bearer. Could have been a major player. I do not know what happened.
Don't you think that he was not consulted?
No, he said he was. He said he was consulted in an interview, but
You see, even if
he's
he
countenanced it.
even if he wasn't consulted, you can consult yourself. You can tell them, I am here. I'm the presidential candidate in 2023.
The last election.
I should have a say.
Probably that's what he did, and they ignored him.
You understand what I'm saying? In politics, you need to make yourself relevant. That is why any politician who goes out of power fizzles out within 1 year, 2 years. They fizzle out. It's like fish out of water. But if you still have something to do, within the political space, you are relevant. That is why you continue to recycle them. They recycle themselves. Because once they are out of that firmament, it becomes difficult for them to know what is going on. So politicians like making themselves relevant. If I were Kachuku, I would have made myself relevant in ADC.
Okay. All right, this would be a good place to anchor the conversation on newspaper review. I must say very big thank you to Comrade Ojekere. Thank you very much for coming. I do hope we'll have you again, and then we'll talk more about the Kachuku factor, the maybe Kachuku factor in the ADC, if at all it is a factor. Well, thank you very much. Also, big thanks to all right. Also, big thanks to you, Mazi Amobi Iheburu. Thank you very much for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
Well, Chukuma will be back here later today.
Yeah, I'll be back at 6 o'clock. But before I tell you what I'm going to talk about at 6 o'clock, Mazi, I want to thank you for this lesson. Remain relevant in politics.
Yes.
I think I've learned, because I want to get into politics. So the only thing I have to do is to always remain relevant. Anyway, by 6 o'clock, I'll be back here to talk about the big meet between Obi and Jonathan. What's up 2027?
Absolutely.
And I'll be joined by Dr. Dayo Kayode to interrogate all of that and more.
All right. Well, Chukuma has said that if he gets a political appointment, he will embezzle as much money.
You don't have me on record.
I didn't hear
You don't have me on record.
Well, I don't have your record. Okay.
You don't have me on record.
I might have your record.
You don't have me on record. And Mazi here didn't hear me say that.
That's it on the show today. I'm Moses Humphrey. Thank you very much. That's it on Newspaper Review. 11 o'clock, sports comes your way. Stay with us. This is VOP Television. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you.